December 17th, 1903. Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The wind howls at 27 miles per hour. Two bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio, are about to change human history forever. But this isn't just their story. This is the story of a divine relay race, where one dreamer passes the torch to the next, each one pushing humanity closer to the stars. From wooden wings to Mars rockets, this is Wings of Destiny. Wright lies flat on the lower wing of their fragile craft, the Flyer. His brother Wilbur runs alongside, steadying the wing. Four witnesses hold their breath. The engine sputters, coughs, then roars. For 12 seconds, just 12 seconds, Orville flies 120 feet, shorter than a modern airliner. But in those 12 seconds, the impossible becomes possible. But here's what they don't teach you in school. The Wright brothers weren't just engineers. They were sons of a bishop. Every night they read scripture. They believed they were unlocking one of God's secrets, written into creation itself. Wilbur once wrote, "If birds can fly, why shouldn't man? God has given us the tools of reason and hands to build with." 4 years of failures, crashes, broken bones, mockery from newspapers calling them crazy bicycle boys. But they kept going. Why? Because they had faith. Faith in physics, faith in perseverance, faith in divine purpose. When Orville finally landed that December morning, Wilbur fell to his knees. Not from exhaustion, from gratitude. The age of aviation had begun. Fast forward 15 years, World War I. The skies over France have become a battlefield. Enter Eddie Rickenbacker, America's greatest fighter ace. Before the war, he was a daredevil race car driver, but in his SPAD 3 biplane, he became something else entirely, a warrior angel. "26 confirmed kills. 26 times he faced death at 10,000 feet. But here's the secret weapon nobody talks about. Eddie flew with a Bible in his cockpit. Before every mission, he prayed Psalm 91, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. No harm will overtake you. No disaster will come near your tent." His fellow pilots thought he was crazy. Until mission after mission, Rickenbacker survived impossible odds. Bullet holes in his wings, fuel tanks shot out, engine failures, and every single time, he made it home.
He later said, "I knew I was protected, not by luck, by something far greater. I felt God's presence in that cockpit more clearly than anywhere on Earth." After the war, Rickenbacker survived a plane crash in 1941, then spent 24 days adrift in the Pacific Ocean in 1942. A seagull literally landed on his head, providing food when they were starving. Coincidence? Eddie didn't think so. He called it divine appointment.
May 20th, 1927, Roosevelt Field, New York. A 25-year-old airmail pilot named Charles Lindbergh climbs into a cramped cockpit. His plane, the Spirit of St. Louis, is so stuffed with fuel tanks he can't even see forward. He navigates using a periscope. His mission? Fly 3,600 miles across the Atlantic Ocean. Solo, non-stop, something no human has ever done. Sound of single engine, ocean waves. Hour 8, he's fighting sleep, hallucinating. Hour 15, ice forms on the wings. The plane drops 100 feet. Hour 22, he's lost. No GPS, no radio, just stars, a compass, and faith. But then something mystical happens. Something Lindbergh barely spoke about publicly, but later wrote in his private journals, "I felt presences in the cockpit with me, not imagined, real, they spoke to me, guided me, I was not alone." He described feeling connected to something infinite, seeing all of time and space at once, past, present, future collapsing into a single moment of divine clarity. Hour 33, Paris, Le Bourget Field. 150,000 people wait in darkness. Then, a sound, a single engine, growing louder. Lindbergh lands. Crowds swarm the plane. He's pulled out like a messiah returning from the wilderness. Newspapers call it the miracle flight. Lindbergh calls it the journey where I met God. Now, let me tell you about the woman who made the impossible look graceful. Amelia Earhart. 5 years after Lindbergh, Amelia becomes the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. But she's not just breaking records. She's shattering a glass ceiling at 10,000 feet. While male pilots got ticker tape parades, Amelia got marriage proposals and questions about her lipstick. But she didn't care. She had a mission bigger than fame. She wrote, "Flying is like a drug to me, but it's more than adrenaline. Up there, among the clouds, those celestial mountains, I feel closest to God. I see the world as the angels see it." Amelia believed flight was humanity's way of participating in divine creation. She once said, "God gave us unlimited potential. Every time we say it can't be done, we insult the Creator." July the 2nd, 1937. Amelia attempts to fly around the world at the equator. Somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, near Howland Island, her plane vanishes. No wreckage ever found. No body recovered. Just gone. Some say mechanical failure. Some say navigation error. But maybe, just maybe, Amelia finally flew so close to heaven, she decided to stay. Her last radio transmission, "We are running north and south." Then silence. But her voice echoes forever. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. World War II, Nazi Germany is terrorizing Europe. America enters the fight. But there's a problem: segregation. The US military says black men can't fly combat missions. They say it's proven science, that African Americans lack the intelligence and courage. But in Tuskegee, Alabama, a group of young black men are about to prove them catastrophically wrong. The Tuskegee Airmen, flying their iconic red-tailed P-51 Mustangs over Europe. Their mission: escort bombers deep into enemy territory. Their record: not a single bomber lost under their protection. 0 out of 200 missions. White bomber crews specifically requested those red-tail angels. They didn't care about skin color anymore. They cared about skill, about courage, about brotherhood.
These men flew with a double purpose: defeat fascism abroad and racism at home. Colonel Benjamin O. Davis Jr., their commander, said, "We fight two wars, one against the enemy in front of us, one against the enemy behind us. We'll win both, not with hate, but with excellence."
Many were deeply religious men. Before missions, they sang hymns. "Swing low, sweet chariot, and we shall overcome." They knew God created all men equal. We're just proving it at 25,000 feet. When they returned home as heroes, they still couldn't drink from the same water fountains as white Americans. But they'd proven something unstoppable. Excellence has no color. Courage has no race. And God's image lives in every human being. The Tuskegee Airmen didn't just win a war. They helped ignite the civil rights movement. October 14th, 1947, the Mojave Desert. A young test pilot named Chuck Yeager climbs into an experimental rocket plane called the X-1. The mission: fly faster than the speed of sound, Mach 1, 686 miles per hour. Scientists say it's impossible, that the plane will disintegrate, that the human body can't survive it. They call it the sound barrier because they believe it's an impenetrable wall. Oh, and by the way, Chuck broke 2 ribs falling off a horse 2 days earlier. He's flying with cracked ribs, and he can't even close the cockpit door himself. The X-1 drops from a B-29 bomber. Yeager fires the rockets. Mach 0.85, Mach 0.92, Mach 0.96. The plane starts shaking violently. Instruments go haywire. Mach 0.98. Then, boom. A sonic boom echoes across the desert, the first ever heard on Earth. Chuck Yeager, son of a West Virginia coal miner, just shattered the impossible. He later said, "It wasn't just physics, it was faith. Faith that God made an orderly universe, that every barrier is meant to be broken, that humans are designed to push boundaries." Chuck saw his work as holy. God gave us brains and courage. Not using them is the real sin. The sound barrier wasn't a wall, it was a door, and Chuck Yeager just kicked it open. Now let's talk about the man who's making science fiction reality, Elon Musk. Born in South Africa, 1971, bullied as a kid, beaten so badly once he was hospitalized, found escape in science fiction books and computer code, but Elon had a vision that sounded absolutely insane. Make humanity a multi-planetary species. In 2002, Elon founded SpaceX with one goal: get humanity to Mars before he dies. Everyone laughed. Aerospace veterans said it was impossible. NASA said it would take 50 years and $1 trillion. Elon said, "Watch me." First 3 rocket launches failed, exploded, crashed into the ocean. SpaceX was almost bankrupt. Elon had poured his entire fortune, $100 million from selling PayPal, into a burning crater. Launch 4 had to work, or it was over. September 28, 2008. Falcon 1 launches from a tiny island in the Pacific. It works. First privately built rocket to reach orbit. Today, SpaceX is worth over $150 billion. They've launched thousands of satellites. They land rockets backwards, something NASA said was impossible. Elon doesn't talk much about spirituality publicly, but he said, "The universe is mysterious. Consciousness itself is the greatest mystery. We're the universe becoming aware of itself. Maybe our purpose is to expand consciousness, to other planets, to the stars." He's carrying forward the Wright brothers' torch. If it seems impossible, work harder. In 2024, SpaceX's Starship, the most powerful rocket ever built, successfully caught itself mid-air with mechanical arms called chopsticks. Engineers wept. Why? Because they just witnessed something that shouldn't exist yet. Elon's goal: put humans on Mars by 2030. Critics say impossible, but remember, they said that about the Wright brothers, about Lindbergh, about Yeager. Elon says, "I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to make science fiction real. Because if we don't reach for the stars, what's the point?" Do you see the pattern? Orville Wright, 12 seconds of flight. Open the door. Eddie Rickenbacker, proved faith can coexist with courage at 200 mph. Charles Lindbergh, showed that the impossible is just the untried. Amelia Earhart, declared that potential has no gender. Tuskegee Airmen, proved that excellence transcends race. Chuck Yeager, shattered limits everyone said were unbreakable. Elon Musk, reaching for Mars because Earth is just the beginning. This isn't just aviation history. This is a relay race of faith. Each generation takes the baton from the last. Each one pushes a little further. Each one says, "The impossible? Watch me." But here's the real secret, the truth that connects all these pioneers. They believed they were part of something bigger than themselves. Whether they called it God, destiny, purpose, or consciousness, they all knew. Human potential is limitless when aligned with divine principles. The Wright brothers prayed in their workshop. Rickenbacker carried a Bible into combat. Lindbergh experienced mystical visions. Amelia felt closest to angels in the clouds. The Tuskegee Airmen sang hymns before battle. Yeager saw physics as God's language. Elon believes we're here to expand consciousness itself. Different words, same truth. We were made to soar. So here's my question for you. What's your Kitty Hawk moment? What impossible thing are you called to attempt? Because here's what these aviators teach us. The sky isn't the limit. It never was. It's just the beginning. God, the universe, consciousness, whatever you call it, has placed dreams in your heart that seem impossible. Dreams that make people laugh. Dreams that terrify you. Good. Jesus Christ, creator of all, has a plan for you. That's how you know they're worth chasing. Orville Wright was terrified that December morning. So was Lindbergh. So was Amelia. So is Elon every time a rocket launches. But they flew anyway. Fade to black, single light shining. Your wings are waiting. Your horizon is calling. Your impossible is just untried. So mount up, take off, and soar. Because the greatest tragedy isn't falling from the sky. It's never leaving the ground. Wings of destiny. The relay race continues. Will you grab the baton?